All right, peace and blessings. Keep up the lessons. You know who this is. Crypto B-Boy coming at you. Got a little good session here going on. I'm going to try to get into what we really need to be, where we need to put our minds at, where we need to understand or have a better understanding and how we deal in these spaces and how we speak and what is our actual goal. What is the reason that we have invested in that which we invested in, or hypothetically to speak. Let's get in it. Are you ready? Let's get it. Alrighty then. Yeah, man. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm going to go into, getting into what is the main purpose of us investing or being what we call an investor. Why? And getting into the why is that first you have to understand what is that which you're doing. What is this action? What is this, taking this opportunity on of getting involved into investing or being an investor? We need to understand this. It's like what I've learned when I've grown up. Anything that I've learned, I wanted to know something to benefit me. I wanted to have some enjoyment from it. That's mankind's pursuit, which we call, or pursuit of happiness, right? Unfortunately, many of us pursue different paths that are destructive to us eventually, right? And even me, when I've been out there, I almost was on that path and destroying myself. Even T spoke about it a little bit in his T spot and videos, and the guy who was in the space with them yesterday when they were in with my man I can't remember his name, but just yesterday, and they were talking, and I'm going to do another video following about that. That room was called "This is the FUD" or something, or "Where's the FUD?" Something to that aspect. Joe Schmo, I think his space, right? And he was talking with T, and they got into some personal things about themselves and their background and issues that they got into because of their actions and following that, or I guess wherever they was at. Not to say that it was pursuit of happiness, but it was something they wanted to do to, I guess, benefit themselves, what they felt, and myself included when I did what I did. But today we're better people. Some of the things that happened in the past and so forth, and the things and the bad mistakes we made. And we learned from those bad things, more or less. That's why we're here. That's why we're in this space. That's why we're the type of people who we are. That's why we are, hypothetically, as I say, invested in digital assets, right? And we know their value. We do our own due diligence to understand them better. You have those who are like T and Bags and the other guys that speak in these spaces, and then you have these guys that like Quincy at those high levels, David Schwartz, the guys of Ripple, all these techs and all these people. Neil now coming out to speak. He's part of the Ripple staff, and then got XLM staff that have spoken, and even in Congress when they sat down in their conferences or so forth, and they spoke to this guy FTX, Sam Friedman. His thing with his foolish stuff that he did. He had so much prospects of being a great guy in the space, but he ended up, like I said, pursuit of happiness on a nefarious level, right? A level that would lead to his destruction and demise as far as where he's at. Not maybe total demise. We know he's going to get slapped on the wrist. We know who he is. But anyway, point is that being an investor is what I'm trying to get into. So I want to get into by just reading a couple of things that I, put together for you guys. And just give me a second. I'm going to pull it up. Okay, so hold on. Let me see here. All right, so what is an investor? I'm going to read these things just so you can, get from me, from not just from me coming off the hip. And there are different investors. There's a different type of way of how to be an investor. Several different types of investors. But, you got to know where you fit. You got to understand who you are. So as an investor, an investor is an individual, company, or fund that buys securities or other assets with expectation of profiting from the change in the value of those assets over time. Common investments include stocks, bonds, exchange-traded funds, real estate, commodities, currencies, options, and derivatives, right? And you know, many of the talks, and even in these up-to-date till now today hearing in other spaces, and you know these chat areas and chat platforms where people speaking, you know, or vocally, right? They speak about all these things, you're right, and we throw certain things out there. We throw some of these things and ideas and understanding, but it is not at the level that the people need to understand a little better. So that's why I'm doing this here. This is my reason and my actual, you know, purpose of what I'm doing this for. The primary goal to continue. The primary goal of an investor is to maximize potential financial returns while minimizing risk. Investors willing to tolerate high risk levels in the hope of higher returns are considered speculators, right? And that's what we do. A lot of us, I got to put my glasses on. I'm a little old these days with my eyes. My eyes is 53 years old. That's as my age is concerned. So anyway, you know, speculators is what we do, and we argue over speculation. This is what it. And even one like I said yesterday, I was listening in Joe Schmo, and there's a lot of good points that I'm going to also bring, and I'm going to allow some of you in my next video to listen to some of the things they were saying, and the points that some of these guys was hitting was on point. You know, T included, of course. And Joe Schmo hitting some. You had the other guy that was, I can't remember his name. He has a Texan hat on. I guess he's from Texas or something. Future or something like that. And then Scams came in there. You know, in different talks, and people was going back and forth a little bit. But they made good points about this being speculators, and you know how some people are so upset over all the speculation that goes on, and the problems is it lies into the people's, you know, kind of, besides speculating, they're doing predictions. And predictions, that's why I try to stay away from predictions. I might do a prediction like I said a prediction of, and then you hear me again, I did it in my other video, that somebody asked that question, and I said, I feel that the case for the SEC case is going to come to its end in March. And because of the patterns and all the things in line and put together, and how things are being set up for that time, you know, especially with the ISO 20022, right? Their you know, launch, okay? You know, they're going live on various platforms of the systems that they're going to be facilitating, banks, certain banks and commercial institutions and so forth. Some of these people are going to have this go live. So, and the ones that are holding off, we know, and we've been given, you know, reports on it, and okay, we understand what's going to be holding off till 2024 and so forth like that. But, you know, we know what it is, okay? So anyway, to continue, retail or individual investors are people who typically invest in small quantities of stocks or other assets. It's like digital assets, in the hopes of profiting from the investments, okay? In the hopes, and that's the problem there, is these hopes are too much and intensely beyond the fact of the reality that you can take losses as well. And this is what we don't understand, that you have to have a risk understanding about risk factors, okay? From the profits of investments. Institutional investors are large entities, as we know. Some of these big wigs and some of these whales, as we call them in the crypto space, as well as in the stock market and all these other areas of investing assets or entities of stocks, right? Investing in stocks, right? Such as pensions, plans, mutual funds, and commercial and investment banks that invest on behalf of clients, right? So you have, you have Fidelity, you have JP Morgan, you have you know, these BlackRock, you have all these big time institutions, right? So we know of them. Growth investors, and these different investors. See, you got different investors, and this is one of them. Growth investors seek out stocks they believe will rise as a company grows its business over time. Value investors invest in stocks that they believe are undervalued based on fundamental valuation metrics, right? And in income investors, I'm just running through it because some of this doesn't, pertain to particularly or specifically to crypto investors, right? And digital asset investors, because it's different. But the same, we have a market. We have the same kind of base, the same kind of format of how stocks or how, funds, mutual funds and so forth, and investing in, other areas of business, right? And being a business investor. So these people get into, and then you got contrarian. Wait, well, let me see. I didn't read that. Income investors focus on generating a reliable source of income from their portfolios. See, and some of this we can do. And my thing is, I noticed that we have a lot of different types of, like, some of us were not educated enough on being investors. So we take all these different types of, traits from these different types of investors, and we try to put it all in one bowl and just go at it, not understanding their basis, how their foundation of how they function, or their format of functionality as being an investor. Because some of these investors are different in how they approach investment, what they are investing in, different types of entities, different types of things to invest in. And there's different approaches and different ways in how they go about it, right? And skills that they develop to be able to be successful as an investor in that way of investing, right? So you got contrarian investors subscribe to the old Wall Street adage of buy low and sell high. See, this is what I'm saying. This is one of the traits, buy low, sell high. One of the traits that we inherited or we adopted in the crypto space. We know this, some of us. Market bubbles, look at what it says. Contrarian investors look to buy high quality stocks, or we look to buy high priced cryptocurrencies, maybe, quality, where we say that they have a good value, right? Whether it's the use case, right? Some of us, and so forth. And other investments during periods of market weakness. So meaning that when they're down, and they're easy to, they're not as expensive to buy, then they buy, right? So that's what's going on here. And then you got the traders, okay? And a good portion of us has got, like I said, we got different types of cryptocurrency investors, and they utilize what they know, but some of them come in with this knowledge. Some of them come in as being investors because they invested in stocks. They invested in other areas of investment. They're business people like myself, an entrepreneur, whether they, big time entrepreneurs that got functional businesses that are bringing in loads of revenue, or they're just living day to day, trying to keep their business going, right? Especially after the pandemic. I'm one of them. Okay, 'cause that's why I'm still doing the work that I do, work for people, and trying to do YouTube videos and get monetized in the whole nine, because you need several forms of income, right? Several flows of income. So, and then being passive. Okay, so buying and holding. Traders or investors focus on profiting by timing the best entry and exit points, right? Rather than simply buying and holding and so forth, right? Simply buying and holding is, what we say, hodling, is the way of those types of investors that are not like traders, of course. Traders, they go, and that's what you have to understand, the difference between a trader and a hodler. Hodler, they want to hold for a certain amount of time and waiting for that profit, waiting for the price to go up, waiting for the value to go up, that they will profit from the compounding of the price being multiplied by the amount of assets that they hold, right? The amount of coins that they hold, the amount of tokens that they hold, so forth, right? So these people, like myself included, hypothetically invested in the ones that I'm invested in, and myself as well as you guys, you all invested in what you invested in, so you want a return. You want a return on your investment. But the traders, they going with the timing, the market, and timing when the markets are giving them that point where they can go in and gain and take and then exit at the proper time. All right. which they won't hopefully lose out and get a loss, right? So now I want to let you know about some of the most famous, some of you already know, and of famous investors. And I usually use this guy, Warren Buffett, CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, right? You know, maybe the most famous investor of all time, as we know, right? Buffett's first investment was 228 stake in Citi Service preferred stock. He purchased in 1941. That's before all of our time. I was born in 70. So at the age of 11, this guy, you know what I mean? Buffett's net worth in 2022 is over 100 billion, even after he has donated tens of billions of dollars since 2006. So basically, he's one of the top dogs. You understand? About investing. And some of his main quotes is talking about being well-rounded and knowledgeable of that which you invest in, knowing and doing your own due diligence. Okay, look at these others that follow in his line, or in the same as like peers with him, right? Other famous investors include Buffett's mentor and value investing pioneer Benjamin Graham. Vanguard founder John Bogle. Some of you guys have heard these guys and know if you've done your own due diligence. Activist investor Carl Icahn, I think if I'm correct, and Soros Funds Management founder George Soros. We've heard of him. He's famous. Former Fidelity Magellan Fund and Major Peter Lynch. Look at Lynch, right? Baupost Group CEO and author of Margin of Safety, Seth Klarman, right? These guys, top guys, right? Now you also have other type of investors, angel investors, peer-to-peer lenders, venture capitalists, and I've heard about them, especially people in those areas of business, right? And they venture into other people's businesses and invest and lend money, or not lend money, but you know, buy into the companies. Personal investors, so forth, right? So these are them, and I just wanted you guys to know about that, because it's so important to know that you have to be aware of who you are and where you stand, where do you sit at as an investor in cryptocurrency. It's an asset, right? It's the asset class of digital currency, right? So we, you know, hypothetically myself to say, invested in these areas of investment. For what? To have profit, to gain from it, to have revenue, to get a return from our investment. That is the main basic goal. So when we get into all this back and forth and speculating, it's not the great benefit. We need to speak about how we're going to improve in our investments. And if we know of any other projects that are doing well, then we advise the people with proof, with evidence that it is a valuable working project or project in the works that has potential, that has a use case for future to come, an innovation path, the innovative path to be very, very lucrative, right? This is what we have to do. We have to do our own due diligence. We have to do our research. We have to know and find out about that which we're going to invest in. You understand? And be smart. You know, not just be smart to be talking and sound smart and want to go back and forth with each other. And I'm not saying everybody's like that. There's plenty of people who are benefiting the people with what they're saying and giving clear, good advice, or speaking on issues that need to be spoken and dialogued, right? But when it comes down to what are you doing this for? Be genuine. Now, this type of stuff of called shilling is, and I'm not going to get into the FUD because I've got into the FUD. I have plenty of videos. You can go. Don't forget to subscribe. You can go click the like button to this video too, but subscribe so you can get the other videos, or go to my, to my channel, Crypto B-Boy, and get in there and watch the other videos about FUD, what I was saying. And the point of that is that for me, for Crypto B-Boy, and as you see, this is Bitcoin. I'm part of the XRP community. That's my main, hypothetically, one of the main assets that everybody is invested in. I got to stay right up there on the, right back there on the backdrop. XRP, yes. Army and whatever you want to call it, right? But I'm not a tribalist. I'm not a maximalist within it. I'm a neutral. Bitcoin is going to be here forever. It's the father. This is my mentality. I'm not saying for you having to take it and you have to accept it. Everybody has their own different mind, but sometimes arrogance gets in the way. You think you know it all, but we don't. None of us. And people like T and the people who clarify, Quincy folk, they're very humble. Neil he's from one of the big prestigious companies of the blockchain fintech industry, right? Neil comes into a regular sit-down room space with people like us regulars, not no people on the staff of that. You have Matt there, yeah, and they were speaking, and very humble. He said what he can say. He explained, but he also said, "No, I don't know this. That's not my area." And that's what. Come on, nobody knows everything, and you got to bring yourself down. And it's not all about always what you know. It's about what, as a community, if we are together as a community, look up what the word community means. It doesn't mean, oh, that breaks up communities. So within the XRP community, I am a neutral person. I am neutral, right? And I'm going to do a video call, or I might open up a space eventually, and deal with that. Deal with the people who fall into that area, not on a tribal or cliquish or gang type of related type of basis. No, that's the problem. That's the problem here. And I know about gangbang. I've been New York before Fort Apache in the Bronx, after the Warriors and some of those gangs, which you've seen that movie. If any of you know, look it up, YouTube it or something. Check Warriors, right? These guys, it was a Hollywood type of based movie where, of course, they put fiction with nonfiction, right? But some of the stuff was true, most of the stuff was based on true story. All the gang banging going on there, all this stuff now, these sets and this and that, and these gangs, they're children of those people. And then the Gangs of New York, the movie that they show with the Irish and the Italians and the Scottish, and then you had some of them, how they went up against each other. We're not benefiting from none of that. That's why I left that a long time ago. Before I became who I am as a Muslim, and that even locked it down, because that life is totally opposite to what I am now. Because you want to be a person that's going to benefit yourself and that you can benefit others following. That's what the prophets came in. I'm not going to get religious, but the prophets were sent to earth to benefit mankind, to give them guidance. So if I'm gonna be that personified that type of way and following behind that, I'm gonna give you what's gonna benefit you, and that's what I'm here doing right now, to let you know what you need to know so you can be in a better place and have a better set of mind, a better state of mind, and how you're gonna deal with these things. That you're not gonna come at each other. It doesn't make no sense. The same people who are struggling against the same systems that are against us to even have this space, as Bitcoin started off from, decentralized, right? So me, myself, neutral. I don't put down Bitcoin and say it's going to zero. I don't say that type of statement, especially not with proof and evidence, clear proof and evidence. I just say it may not be able to go, like even in talks, some of the talks, and even I heard T and them, they were speaking yesterday, and they were speaking on that issue in the space, Joe Schmo. And they was basically talking about Bitcoin. This guy came in there that was going back, I think his name is Creo, and he just, he was on a tangent with it, and clearly can note and see that he's a maximalist, not maybe a hard, staunch maximalist that goes down and talks down about other cryptos, but he was saying, why do we need it? But that's not where you should be. You should not be on the extremes on these ends. You should have a balance to know that whatever this crypto or whatever this digital asset that you have an interest in to invest your monies in, your fiat in, or credit, whatever you want to call it, money, right? You have to know what you're doing. You have to know that it has a value. You have to know that it has a use case. You have to know that it has a future. You have to know that it is lucrative, that has potential for to bring you wealth. You need to know that. Investing in anything is geared and locked in, interlocked with money. Okay, it's about trying to make wealth. That's the simplistic of it. Trying to make profit. Profit is wealth, right? And that's business geared, and it's more related to business, but it's also related to that because investors are even above the level of being just a person, an entrepreneur or a business person, because they get into various other things to invest in, like I mentioned and read to you. And we have to know that. We have to know our place where we at. But be balanced, people. Be balanced. Stay balanced, because that's going to help you to go forward. You can't, if you're not open-minded and balanced on things, on levels, and saying, okay, we can discuss, we can dialogue on other projects. It's okay. But why do you have to put them other projects down if they clearly give you a use case? If they clearly give you evidence that they have potential? If they give you all these things that we deal with the techs, and you have tech guys like Bags and T and Quincy Jones, that he does his own videos because he really doesn't come into their space. And I remember when I was in listening to him, and he did a space one time, and he kind of said why he stays back, because there's stuff that goes on. And I see even T sometimes, some places he'll be, and some places he ain't going, and I don't blame him. And you know, we have to choose. Big me, I'm a ghost on it. I ghost in and I ghost out. But if I feel I got to say something, I'm going to put my thing in and let you get me on stage and let the old man talk. Because I know, and I'm not trying to get into that old man, young man thing, or young women or whatever, but I'm talking about men because I'm a man, and, you know, to us men, right? But the women too, adults. We all adults. But I know I'm one of the oldest around some of these talks and some of these places, and even the video content creators, some of them. Because I've heard some of them mention their numbers, their ages. And, you know, I'm one of the old school in there like that. I've been doing YouTube since 2007. So this knowing how to put together content and whatever, I had to learn some other things, you know. And I'm always open. I'm not no better, not the top guy because of my age or whatever, but I know things. Experience is what it's called. And if you never heard that from any of your elders in your family, that's where you learn how to have respect for your elders. Is that you know that their experience that they went through can help you to benefit yourself. And that's all I'm doing, people. So take it from your OG, if you want to call me. Nah, I'm just kidding. Or take it from, you know, your uncle or whatever in the crypto space or what have you. If you want to give me that nickname, that's cool. Crypto Bebo, I respect that, because, you know, we got to respect each other on levels, no matter the age or so forth anyway. But what we bring to the table, the you know, the value, and that it has value, that it truly has benefit and value. Not that it's just a run off the tongue and just run your mouth and just want to sound good and seem like, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. You know, we can go and get all this information and knowledge, but that's what we did. We're not the ones that knowledge the people who actually put together these things and disseminate this knowledge. Like, you know, some of these guys that are these tech guys. That's why I don't argue with no tech guy. I wouldn't argue with a tech guy. He comes and tries to tell me this, okay, because I don't know that. That's not me. But if he tries to say, no, this is how I'm going to market this project, and this is the best way, and he makes a mistaken error because it's not the best way of, I know marketing, only on the level where I came in my experience as a business person. I'm not no top daggone shark, and I don't care about them. Just because they're at the top and they did what they did, we don't know how some of them got up there. Some of them tell their stories. But when a person starts to learn how to do as an entrepreneur and get into business and invest in something that they feel is going to do good for him as well as the people that they're servicing, whatever type of service or products that they are, you know, selling, that it's a benefit and it's going to be good, because that is part of your basis, is your rapport, is that you're reputable in doing what you doing as a business for these people, because you're serving customers, clients if you're a person that has to take on clients, right? So this is what it is. You understand? We got to be a little bit better and well-rounded in that area that I'm speaking about. So I'm going to leave it at that. I went into a little bit long. I was supposed to post up a video had to go along with it, but you know, it really is really something to me, and I hold strong in it because I want good for everybody in the community. I want to see other human beings besides these top elitists just get the water. One, as they say, it used to be the 1%. Now it's becoming, now people are moving up into those areas slow and surely, but you know, because of this, because of the likes of this. Bitcoin people who became millionaires, they were able to do that because of this. Because Bitcoin opened up those doors, right? And put a glitch in the system that has been stifling and you know, suppressing the majority and the masses of the human race to have economical freedom. And we all want freedom. Like this guy, which I agree with him, with Creo, and why Bitcoin came to be. That is the reason that it actually came to be. That's one of them. There's others. But it doesn't stop just with Bitcoin. It doesn't stop just with any cryptocurrency. As an investor, you diversify. And that's one of the traits of an investor, that makes it better for you. I mentioned some of these guys. Warren Buffett. He's an investor that diversifies his portfolio. So we have to follow behind these guys. That's why I mentioned them. And it's not just them. They have, and just because probably most of them might be white and might be of other races that haven't been included in those names. I'm not saying that there ain't no others that of other races. And so I'm not, of course, I'm not a racist or any of that. And I'm not just trying to prop up these guys because they the only ones that you see or hear and they're all mostly white. No, it's not about a race thing. They, besides people like Chris Gardner and you know, Reggie Middleton now, these are guys that are investing. You got Damon from the guy who invested in and did the FUBU, and he's a shark, right? And you got plenty of other African American, Spanish, you got Cuban, you know, he's there. And these and Asian investors and all types of human beings on this earth. So that's what it's about. It's not about who we are, you know, our religion or this or that, whether you poor or rich, whether you was from a family that was this dysfunctional and you came up in a dysfunctional situation, or you lived in an urban area, or you was rich and you was able to step in with the silver spoon in your mouth and get into this space and just invest in some more, way more than anybody else has ever been able to, and even start a project because you have the money, you have the funds, or maybe you have a family that has enough money to front you these funds to start a project, right? Whether it's NFT or just a cryptocurrency, you want to create your own, right? But it's not easy. But the space is open, wide open for this types of investment. The space is wide open for these types of efforts. And we got to stop stifling each other, especially in the XRP community. That's what's been going on. One of the most intelligent that I know, and then other people have mentioned and said this, of people in a community in the space that are really at a level where a lot of other spaces, they don't deal with the technology on the level that most XRP community does. And knowing and understanding it and understanding its future in innovation, and understanding not just the future of innovation, its prospects of financial wealth that is massive, okay, to come, worldly, globally, on a global level. Not just, you know, Bitcoin, yeah, we know that. It has no global bounds. We know that. Ethereum, we know that. And some of the other cryptocurrencies and projects, right? But XRP is tied in more, but has been stifled because of the fact of. And knowing that people like us, they don't really want us to have it. And that's all I'm going to say. Mic drop. Okay, so take it serious, people. Take heed. I appreciate you all who have subscribed to me, all who lock in, all who listens to me and says, yeah, this old guy, 53 years old, cryptocurrency with the little b-boy art that I did, which is you know, my own creation. with my own little graffiti style of skill that I've had back in the day, which I'm going to also probably bring some more art and probably put it in, you know, the Discord with the art area that we have, a little area that we, you know, we display art and stuff like that, and people who have those skills. So I'm gonna do that. But I appreciate you guys being there with me, and don't forget to subscribe so you can lock in and get more videos from me, future videos, and certain things that I get into that is going to be beneficial to you and give you some knowledge on certain things, and even like I do tutorials at times. I deal with another community called Mindbase, the Mindbase community. It's a coin, it's a token blockchain. The fees and so forth, they're passed over to that creation of that token and that coin, so that because of those people who are using through to be able to be validated easier. So it's like adding to the validation to the you know what's going on in that area of the blockchain. So I'm on that project with several people. I said a couple of hundred or thousands more people that are involved in that project, and I have videos with that if you're interested to learn about it. But I don't promote it to that level to the XRP community, because I know how XRP and XRP Army are very, very critical about projects just coming out. So I stay away from trying to promote it to the XRP community. But if you're interested, you know, you can DM me, you can put in the comment space and ask me about it, and I'll send you a link. You know, hopefully. But thanks again. Till next time, catch me in the next video. This your boy, but not your little boy, Crypto B Boy, coming at you. Peace.